Good evening, adventurers, and welcome back to the Maze. This is MazeCast, episode number 26. It has been a hot minute. We apologize. It's been going on 2 weeks since our last podcast,
We
but
missed we missed a
we
week.
had we missed a week. I mean, we did. The apprentice was out of town on vacation. He had a wonderful vacation up in the Big Apple,
Mm-hmm.
um, and he may or may not write a little article about it to tell you some of the things he did.
Mm-hmm.
If you are in the Big Apple, Forbidden Planet, yep, I know it's the greatest comic book game shop of all time. He went by and it was closed. So thanks,
Yeah, we
Forbidden Planet.
had we had one day where because we had so much we were doing, we were trying to like orchestrate it where we were kind of in the same area. Um, and there was one day that we were in the area and had a little bit of free time, and I went by and they were closed for lunch. So I was like, I waited around for like 20 minutes and couldn't get in. They never came back, so I just had to move on. I also wanted to go to Hell's Kitchen really bad because I'm a Daredevil fan, and I couldn't get to Hell's
Yeah,
Kitchen either. So
yeah,
I think we're going probably next year again, more towards Christmas time. So hopefully I can get down there and see that stuff again.
cool. All right. So let's jump into what's playing right now. So our Kingdom of Tushanar game, unfortunately, had to get postponed this past Friday. My wife unfortunately got called out of town. She is kind of her mother's caregiver. Her mother lives back in Virginia, so my wife had to make a trip back up to Virginia to take care of her mother for the weekend. So unfortunately, we did not get to play. So we will be playing this Monday, May 1st. So be on the lookout for that recap when it comes out. We'll give you some details and have some photos posted up for you to take a look at. Speaking of recaps, The Apprentice has another wonderful character, uh, kind of a character perspective write up for our last game, which was played this last Saturday. We had a great time. The players kind of got into the thick of things. They got
Mm-hmm.
through a dungeon and got a little frustrated, ran into a tougher creature, and they were kind of at their wits' end on how to defeat it, but they eventually prevailed after they kind of took some turns to investigate and to kind of just view the creature and figure out what worked and what didn't work. And then they finally got their things together and they basically handed a CR6 creature its butt. They are level 3, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Just, so we can talk about how broken the CR challenge rating system is in D&D. But anyway,
Yeah.
I tweaked the creature a little bit, kind of made a homebrew, and we had a good time with it. They recovered some things, but the plot took another twist for them as they feel like they were sent on a wild goose chase or maybe a suicide mission. So we'll see how that plays out now that they are looking to confront the people that send them on said mission. So be sure to check that out. We'll have a link for it in the show notes for you guys. Check it out over on our website in the blog section. And then, of course, our Order of the Flagon. We have had one game session since our last podcast. It's basically kind of a shopping episode. They're back in town, um, kind of running into some issues with a book that they found. So I'll get that recap up. I have been remiss in doing so, but I will get that up this week for you guys, and we'll point you to a link over there. Take a look at it on our website. Unfortunately, we're running into a lot of scheduling conflicts going into the end of April, first part of May. Right now, it looks like it's going to be mid-May before we can play again. So instead of playing weekly like we hoped, it looks like it's going to be every 2 or 3 weeks at best right now until we get through the summer. But we'll continue to plug away at it, and we'll keep you guys posted, so you can check that out if you're interested. But let's jump into some TTRPG news. For those of you who have been watching and listening for the past week, I'm sure you have seen it because just about every content creator has talked about it that WoTC has launched yet another actual play uh, live view podcast where they are doing a live stream game. It is called Dungeon Masters. It has a couple of voice actors from Baldur's Gate 3 in it, and a couple of people that you will recognize from previous actual play games they've done with like Deborah Wall and things like that. Um, I was kind of hesitant to check it out. I'm not really super big on live plays as they tend to run a little dry or don't really feel like they're in very good step to me. But I did check this one out and I sat through the 2 hours and change of it, about a third of which was actual ads. But I did enjoy it. I like the concept. I like the fact that they've gone into Ravenloft, and I like the fact, spoilers by the way, that they've gone to Sithica, which is the realm of Lord Soth, the Death Knight from the world of Krynn. I think that's refreshing since everybody always wants to confront Strahd. But to me, Strahd is kind of a little played out. I'd like to see some more challenging gameplay with different uh, lords from the different realms of dread. Like there's some werewolves out there too, guys. I'm just saying, yeah, maybe. But we'll have a link for that in the show notes for you guys to check it out. It looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. I am going to check out episode 2, which is up now. But give it a look if you're interested. If not, hey, each your own. Stephen, you wanted to talk a little bit about some comic books coming out in the realm of D&D, or I guess the realm of Ravenloft, actually.
Yeah. And, they're doing a 4-part, I believe, Ravenloft comic series from Dark Horse, which I'm a huge Dark Horse fan. I know Marvel and DC are big, but I think a lot of the stuff that comes out of Dark Horse is easily as good.
Awesome stuff.
They are dropping a 4-issue comic miniseries that's coming out. First part is coming out August 19th. Like Dad said, it takes place mostly in Ravenloft. Probably all the complete series will be in Ravenloft. Just a quick plot overview from the Dark Horse website. The story follows a monster hunter, Ez Devenir, might be pronouncing that wrong, as she travels through the frozen wasteland of Lamortia. She is searching for an undead creature that holds the secret to why the demiplane of Ravenloft is falling apart, all while being pursued by the Dark Lord Victra Mordenheim. So,
okay. A different Dark Lord, nice.
yeah, and the art looks very cool. It's like retro '80s looking, just kind of like the old comics that you used to. When you think of comic books, you think back to, like I've got over here. I think it looks awesome. This kind of came out of nowhere for me. Like we were going over a ton of the new Ravenloft content from the roadmap, and then like I feel like this. I was just looking up like when the next book came out, when the source book for Ravenloft came out in June, what day, and then like boom. By the way, there's a 4-piece, or 4-issue comic series coming out in August. Like, oh, okay.
I'm kind of surprised, with all the marketing they put behind the first comic that they announced. It's going to be the mini series where it's basically creatures joining forces to get out of the dungeon.
Typically the villain creatures.
There was a lot of news about that, and this is the first I'm hearing about the Raven.
I mean, I saw this, not even, this was on the Dark Horse website when I was searching Ravenloft. I wasn't even searching comics or anything, and it just came up on the Dark Horse site. And then after I found that, I did see it on, like, the typical, like, comic shops, Troll and Toad, stuff like that, but, like, this is like just getting zero, at least in my opinion, so far. I haven't seen anything about this on official WoTC channels at all. Like none.
Yeah,
I think I saw them share something on Instagram, but like that was it. So I don't know. I don't know. Maybe there's a reason for it. Maybe they're trying to keep it relatively like kind of they want it to kind of splash.
Maybe since it's new that since we're going into the third quarter with that, maybe what they're looking to do is release that kind of injunction with their horror theme.
So, yeah, I mean, and like with an IP like Ravenloft, like I feel like people love it so much that like if you get the hopes up too much and then it comes out and it's not everything that people hope for, it's deemed bad, even if it's not. So I don't know, who knows? But either way, it looks really good. And I'm excited for it. So
we'll have a link in the show notes for you guys if you want to check it out. Please do. Do whatever you can to support the hobby and the community, because if we don't, we won't have it, and then we'll be griping about not having it. So. Daggerheart revealed their Hope and Fear cover art and a release date. I am pretty excited about that, even though my group shied away from Daggerheart after trying it out for about 6 or 7 sessions, and they decided to go back to D&D. I think there's still some potential behind the Daggerheart role-playing game.
I do too.
And the artwork for the Hope and Fear book caught my eye, and I'm like, okay. I like it. I mean, that's obviously going to stand out on a shelf and maybe generate some more interest.
Yeah, so. I'll be honest. Like, I never, almost ever, am like, oh, I'll buy the Ultimate Edition and pay $130 or whatever.
Yeah.
This one, though, I don't know, man. Like, the art, I'll put a picture of it wherever Dad's finger goes. It is sick. Like, it is so sick.
It's pretty awesome.
So
I saw it. I saw it. I'm like, okay. Yep.
Yeah, and we've like gone over kind of sort of what's in here. I'll just give a quick like rundown. It's 130 new adversaries, 30 new environments. There is 4 new classes entirely: the Witch, Warlock, Brawler, and Assassin, with 2 subclasses of their own. 100 new weapons, armor, and consumables, and 4 new campaign frames, including new worlds and settings for you to explore. The other big thing for me, the big takeaway, was that this adds vampires, werewolves, and the ability to become them, as well as other creatures of the night aspects, which I said before, that to me was like, I'm a horror fan, so I can't help it. Like when your setting
Yeah.
misses like vampires and werewolves and mummies and like that kind of thing, it's like there's something like you have fun over here in your sandbox, but it's like but you
Hmm.
know like that stuff isn't there, and it kind of takes away from it. Even if you don't
Yeah.
interact with it, just knowing it's there is like makes it feel like a complete experience. And
Yeah.
maybe that's just because I grew up with Ravenloft on the bookshelf, and like I knew that setting, and I love the old monster movies. But this is like this to me feels like Daggerheart 1.0. Like this comes out, and it's like okay, like now everything's out, and now we can have the big experience that we're hoping for.
Right.
So,
And not to be outdone by other companies with their deluxe editions,
hmm,
there will be a deluxe edition that will be available. It's going to
yeah,
come in a box set, which will include a GM screen, a bunch of dice, cards, and tokens. It will only be available from Barrington Press directly, so don't think you're going to see this in your game stores. I don't
hmm.
think you will, unless your game shop owner or one of the managers buys it and just puts it on display. But you'll have to get it from Barrington Press directly. We'll have a link down in the description for you guys to check out the article so you can learn more if you are interested.
It
So,
if that cool art only comes with the deluxe set, I'm getting the deluxe set. I don't know if it's
well, I
only that
mean,
one or not. It might be. It
if,
looks like there's at least two versions of the Hope and Fear book, and if one of them is the art I like, I'll just get that.
yep,
But it is incredible art. Like y'all will see it.
it is.
It's very cool.
It is. So let's talk about Paizo. I mean, Paizo has been popping off. I mean,
Yep.
we gave Paizo a really great rating on our
Yep.
RPG scorecard,
Yep.
as you guys might remember from a couple episodes ago.
Yep.
But here they are again. They have announced 13 Omens, a new horror RPG book. And I saw it, and I mean, the first thing I did was I texted Steve and I said, "Have you seen this? Because
Mm-hmm.
this is right up his alley." So
Yeah.
they've announced this is going to be coming out. It's going to use, it will not use the Pathfinder and Starfinder 2E game engines. It's
Mm-hmm.
basically it's going to work off of a rules light RPG designed by Jason. And I know I'm going to say your name wrong, Jason, so I apologize. Jason Bolman and Joe Pacini. The game is set in a dark reflection of our own world. It's going to be beset by horrifying specters, bloodthirsty killers, cursed places, secret beasts, and things best left unknown. I think it sounds awesome.
Yeah, I would say that
I'm
this looks sick. Like
It
I'm
does,
just from what they're talking about. I mean, I can't wait to see some art. I will
yeah,
say this article talks about a Paizo game that I don't think is in production anymore called Hope Finder.
yeah.
Um,
I don't recall
so
that one.
Bullman was the director of games for Paizo, and he previously worked on Hope Finder, which was a horror-themed zombie apocalypse game that
Hmm.
used the Pathfinder 2e engine. I have never even heard of that.
I haven't either.
So I don't know if this is like a spiritual successor to that or something. But yeah, I
Right.
mean, I am absolutely all for any horror TTRPG I can get my hands on. I never quite got my fill of things like horror clicks back in the day. So if I
Yeah.
can play in a horror themed environment and role play and do combat, I'm 100% in. And
Hmm.
most people, like people that I'm in discords with, are in God. That sentence makes me want to vomit. But I know Worlds of Darkness exists, and I have those books and I play those games as well. But Paizo entering the ring here is a big deal in the horror
Oh yeah.
TTRPG. I mean, it's always been kind of an indie, like that's their ball field. They play in the horror, and then we play in fantasy. Well, now Paizo getting into that field is very interesting. So I'm excited to see what they do. And
Yeah.
God knows the art's going to be sick because Paizo's art
Oh
is
yeah.
always good. So
It's always good. If they have the same artist doing it, great. If not, I know Paizo well enough to know that they're going to bring in some good
I
artists
kind
that
of
will
hope
do
they
good
bring
art
in
for
all
you.
new everybody. I hope this feels nothing and like
I
like
would love to see Brom do some art for that. Brom's art, especially his horror art, is sick.
yeah.
I would like to see maybe Clyde Caldwell do
Mm-hmm.
some. I know Larry Elmore is retired now and they probably can't afford him, but I would love to see some like old school artists come in and just do some old school horror. You know, Justin Gerard's probably looking for some commissions too.
Oh,
I'm just
dude.
saying. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Let me make some introductions. So,
I think it'd be awesome if they went like completely 180 polar opposite for this and made it feel completely different than Pathfinder. I mean, the
mhm,
rules light, piece of what you said, that already is completely polar opposite. So like, I think they should
yeah.
really like make the art different and make the books look different. Go
Yeah.
all the way. Like, if you're gonna
Go,
do
yeah,
it,
just
take it
all
all the
in the
way.
other direction. Yeah. I'd like you said, I like that pulpy kind of 70s,
Mm-hmm.
80s horror art,
Love
like from
it.
the Tomb of Dracula,
Love it.
Werewolf by Night, the old Blade comics,
Yep.
from back in the 70s. Do art like that.
Yep.
I'm in. I
Yeah,
mean,
I'll buy whatever you
yeah,
publish. Like literally, I'll buy all of it.
yeah, pretty much. So, well, let's talk about some movies, games, and pop culture news. Steve, I want you to lead us off with something that's near and dear to your heart. As you mentioned, I think
Hell
you and
yeah.
Josh were playing it last night, if I'm not
Hell yeah.
mistaken.
So, The Division. A lot of people probably don't even know what that is. It's a game series made by Tom Clancy, which probably, if you don't know The Division, you probably know who Tom Clancy is. Ghost
Yeah.
Recon guy, all that stuff. The Division is, in my opinion, probably the best looter shooter ever made. I
Oh, yeah.
have between, and you've played Division.
Yeah.
Between 1 and 2, I probably have close to 1,000 hours in those games. In 2 alone, I have like 700 hours. Just because,
Mm.
and I won't go. I even have. If you go way back in the archive on the Apprentice Corner, I do have a Division deep dive article that goes into the
You
Division.
do. Yeah.
And that article is a lot about like the world and the setting, and not as much about how the game actually works. But
Mhm.
basically, it's just like every other loot-based game, like Diablo and Destiny and all that stuff. It's a lot about leveling up, getting loot, and taking out bad guys. That's pretty much what it is. Why I love Division is the way that it is very, very like consumer friendly. When you play a certain any mission, or there's repeatable content called like one is called the Summit, which is a skyscraper,
Right.
and it's like a mage's tower. Every level gets harder, and you keep going. Um, you can go to inside of a menu and do what's called targeted loot. So let's say you're like, man, I really want this certain piece of gear, this certain item.
Yeah.
You just select that item, and it's like, okay, like every level. If you let's say in D&D terms, I want this certain sword. Like let's say I want, you could say, okay, I want swords. I want swords to be more prevalent in my loot. Every
Hmm.
level you get that weapon, you get that piece of gear, guaranteed. So it's like it's a good way to just like get your character exactly where you want them. And every time I play the Division, I'm like, man, like why can't Diablo do this? Why can't Destiny
Right.
do this? Why can't all these other games do this? Um, so long story short, I love the game. I have tons and tons of hours in it. I have tons of builds. I've gotten all my friends into it. I love the
Hmm.
setting. I even have the books. Like there's tons
Yeah.
of really good books that take place in this setting. It's a fun
There's a
like,
lot of lore to it, which
well, I
is
mean,
amazing.
it's got the most like realistic, in my opinion, like apocalyptic setting where basically a terrorist
Yeah.
organization infects the dollar. They break into the Federal Reserve the day before on Thanksgiving, and they infect all of the money there with some new strain of the flu. So on
Mm.
Black Friday, when all that money's circling around, it launches and this is before COVID. Both games came out
Yeah.
before COVID. So like this is like I remember playing that game during COVID and it was like wow, this feels like what's happening in the real world. Like it feels like you're going down streets that are empty and the trash bags are piled all the way up to the freaking roof. And the first game was in New York, the second game's in DC. I've been to both of those places, and I'm such a nerd. I like go to the Division, like oh, there's a mission here, I'm gonna go there and go see it. And anyway, the game is great. I love the game. I'm obviously passionate about it. If you're listening to this right now and hear me not shutting up about it,
I mean,
but
I'm sure you can tell.
out of nowhere, like I saw a post when they released their new season of the video game. They're like, "Oh, by the way, check out our new TTRPG coming out." And I was like, "Wait a sec. Like, whoa." And sure enough, they're doing a full-fledged tabletop game. It's on Kickstarter right now. You can save it just so you can follow it along, and it's being made by Arcane Asylum Publishing, which is they've done a few other things. They've actually been really active in backing other projects. But as far as created projects, they did a game called Gods, the Dark Fantasy RPG, which
Mhm.
got fully funded and people like. So they're now working on this, and it's in close. They're working in very closely with like content creators of the Division. And in my Division article, I shouted out a guy called Rogue Gold, and he's been playing Division
Mhm.
forever. He's actually one of their influencers and subject matter experts working on the tabletop game. And he
Right.
was like, they approached me like a year ago, and they were like, "Hey, I think like a loot-based like shooter would be great for like a tabletop game." And in the game, there's like classes and certain gear sets that kind of
Yeah.
they mold you into a certain class or role on your team. So this
Mhm.
game is like ripe for having like 15 to 20 classes for your agent, and then doing certain missions, certain like and like the game has like settlement management, like getting food and water and stuff to different settlements of survivors throughout the city. It's open world. It is like very ripe for a role playing experience. So I'm all for this. I've got a bunch of links for you guys. The quick start manual is already on Drive RPG for you to check out. The website is fully up and the Kickstarter is up as well. So I will drop that all in there for you guys. If you want a long read, I do have that article out there. It goes a lot into the world building and the detail of the game. Can't recommend the games enough, so check that out if you want to see more about the Division.
Yeah, please do. I actually have a lot of fun with it. It is a pretty
It's
fun
so good.
game. It's easy to get into, and it gets a little addictive, especially as you're trying to find different types of weapons so that you can deal with tougher bosses and different fights. But
Hmm.
it's a very fun game.
It's Diablo, but
Uh,
in like a modern tactical setting. So if that sounds
basically,
interesting, do it.
basically. Godzilla -0. The first trailer has dropped.
Hmm.
It's been about a week now, but that is out. We'll have a link for that in the show notes. And here's a picture of Godzilla right here. I am pretty excited for it. When I saw that picture, I'm like, holy crap, I am in. I love -1. I
Hmm.
thought it was great. And I knew the second I saw the end of it, spoilers if you haven't seen it, but I knew the second I saw that final scene in it, I'm like, yep, there's definitely going to be another one.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for it. I like the fact that the trailer has Godzilla showing up and then walking past the Statue of Liberty, which is in the foreground, which says he's going to show up in New York at some point. I
Hmm.
don't know when in the movie. They haven't said. But there's all kinds of speculation and theories flying around on the internet right now about, Godzilla's going to be, there's two Godzillas, a big one and a small one, so maybe it's baby Godzilla and,
Hmm.
maybe he cloned himself or whatever the case may be. I know I'm excited to see it because I love the first one. So I think this one is definitely going to kind of up the stakes a little bit. So we're excited about that. We'll have a link to that trailer if you haven't already seen it in the show notes. Check that
Yeah.
out.
Yeah. We're Godzilla scholars
Oh,
here.
yeah.
I've loved it my whole life as long as I can remember. All the movies, even the bad ones, I've loved them all. I will say, the first movie had the best. Well, Godzilla. What was it? -0 was the first. -1.
Minus one was the first one.
So that one had the best atomic breath, I think, of any movie of
Yeah,
all time.
definitely.
Because they really leaned into this like post World War II, like Japan anti-nuclear. Like that's what
Yeah.
Godzilla is. Like that's why Godzilla was invented in Japan, was to
Yeah, the
kind of.
atomic bomb, the
Yeah, well,
radiation,
like I mean, he's
and
literally a creature that they used the character of Godzilla to like unify their country against like this common evil thing ideal of nuclear warfare. That's what he is. Um, and when he fired that atomic breath in -1, and it was like literally like a laser beam, and then it like became an A bomb at the end and just blew up like a nuke. I was like, like that's what happened. If he's shooting nuclear atomic breath, like why wouldn't it be a nuclear bomb when it hits?
right.
That movie was. I mean, every few months I'm like, I should rewatch that movie, and like every
Watch it again.
time,
Yeah,
it's
I've watched
it's
it
better
4 times.
every time.
It does, and I find something new in it every time I watch it. So
It's
I'll
just it's
probably
so
do
well
it.
written. It is so well done. The visuals are incredible, and if you didn't know, like that movie, they did it for like almost no money. Like I
Yeah.
remember when it came out, like they were comparing that movie to like other movies and like from Hollywood in America, and like
Hmm.
how good that movie looked for how little I mean, I think it was like 10 million or something. It was like
It was
barely
very low
anything.
budget. They didn't have anybody who's a big name star in it.
Yeah.
They just basically leaned into the character of Godzilla, and they leaned into a good
I
story,
mean,
and I think they did a
yeah,
great
it
job.
was unbelievable how cheap they made that movie for, and you compare that to like just these blunders from Hollywood that are like $500 million, and you see it and you're like, I'm good forever. I never want to see that again. So it's
Yeah,
just interesting. But yeah, if you haven't seen that for some reason, you should go see -1 and then get ready for this movie.
definitely. So let's jump into some Kickstarter Backerkit news. I want to lead off with our friend David over at Flintlock and
Mm-hmm.
Fog. His game is out right now on Kickstarter.
Mm-hmm.
We will put a link. Here's a picture, and we'll put a link down in the show notes for you guys to check it out.
Yep.
It's a great game. I've played it. I've got the beta rules. I've got to get Steven and Josh and Nathan to play with me. I think they would enjoy it.
Dude, we could absolutely
Um,
do like a one shot to promote this. I mean, David's such a good guy, and like
yeah,
when Dad and I were starting the project, he had Dad on to do a live stream of this game, like just to be a friendly guy, and we've been in contact with him ever since. He's just a
yeah,
genuine person that's in the space that's trying to do something unique and interesting, and at the same time helping other creators like us and many others. He
yeah,
just seems like one of the people that when you get close to him and when you become friends with him, you keep him close.
yeah.
So out of every Kickstarter that we have talked about, which is a lot, I can wholeheartedly recommend this one because if you get into this one, you're getting a good product, but you're also supporting somebody who's a real fierce friend and supporter of the genre and of the hobby.
It
There's
definitely.
tons of projects on Kickstarter that are great, but they'll be a flash in the pan and then they're gone, or they'll be,
Yeah.
it won't hit the mark quite the way you thought it would. Dad has played this
Mhm.
game. He's literally played it with the creator of the game. There's a video
Yep.
of it on YouTube right now. And every other, like, I feel like every few weeks I see new playthroughs of other creators playing it with him as well.
Yep.
So,
Yep. And I'll tell you, I was the first backer. I was sitting here watching my phone, and I kept refreshing every few minutes
mm-hmm.
because I knew it started at 7 o'clock this past Thursday night.
Yep.
And I basically waited. And the second it went live, I was the first backer, and I went in at the highest level.
Yeah.
So, I definitely want to back it. I want to support my friend. I think it's a great game, and I'm definitely all in. So,
Yeah. I mean,
we'll have
we
a
have,
link in the show notes for you guys.
yeah, we've been all
Um,
over a lot of Kickstarters, but, this one and
this
Oathbreaker, in
one's
my opinion, are the two that they do a lot for the
nearest and
community.
dearest to our hearts.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So let's talk about something else near and dear to my heart. I started playing RPGs and stuff back in the 80s, as most of you know. And one of the very first things that I played after I got kind of into the space with Dungeons and Dragons is my cousin Jerry introduced me to a game called Deadlands. Deadlands is a fun game. It is a Western themed TTRPG with some horror and some supernatural themes in it. I think it's a lot of fun. And I haven't really thought about it or seen it in years, except occasionally when somebody would write an article or they would mention it in passing or something like that. But if you see my screen moving behind me, it's because my dog will not sit down. Anyway, they have decided to do a 30-year anniversary Kickstarter. That is coming out pretty soon. I don't think we have a release date for it yet, but we'll keep you posted. So we're gonna put a link for you in the show notes. But I'm telling you what, I'm pretty excited about everything that's coming out with this thing. It's going to be called Deadlands: The Weird West. And if you ever read any of the old comics from the 70s and 80s called Weird West Tales, kind of like that. There's some supernatural, some horror, kind of mixed in with Western themes. But it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. They are going to have a 30th anniversary celebration book, which is going to be a commemorative volume chronicling the full history of Deadlands, and there she goes again, including behind the scenes stories, unrealized video game that never happened. I'm really kind of excited to read about that. I wish it had happened.
mm-hmm.
There's going to be a cover gallery of past books. There is going to be a new Deadlands core rulebook. They don't give us a page count on that, but I'm kind of excited to see where that's going to go. There's going to be a Deadlands starter box set, so that you can get new people into it. It's going to be designed for new players with going to have a feature full length adventure. It's going to have tokens, cards, dice, and streamlined rules. There's going to be power cards. That's going to be a set of cards that will include reference cards for the arcane background, the blessed, the chi master, the huckster, the mad scientist, the shaman, the voodooist, and the witch. And then there is going to be rascals, varmints, and relics, a new bestiary that will include all the creatures from the previous Deadline settings books, as well as new and updated creatures. So be on the lookout for that. We'll have a link in the description for you guys to check it out. It looks super exciting. I'm probably going to back that one too. I mean, I back too many Kickstarters, but most all of them are interesting to me or near to my heart, like this one. So, um,
Did you see who does the forward in the Marshall's Handbook?
I did.
Bruce Campbell.
Bruce Campbell.
That's awesome.
That is awesome. I mean, I want to say, if I remember correctly, I had read somewhere that they wanted him for voice acting for the video game back in the day, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
not 100% on that. I might be off, but I could definitely see him doing it, doing voice work for it. I think that would be awesome. But anyway, but that's going to do it for our regularly scheduled programming.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to jump into some extra loot.
Oh yeah.
Where Stephen wants to go on another one of his patented tirades about the damage types in D&D and what his thoughts are on them, and then we'll kind of sound off, and then we would love for you guys to jump into the comments section and chime off and tell us what you think. Are we off the mark? Are we right on target? Are we missing something, or are we giving things too much grace? So why don't you
So
start us off, Steve?
Game Rant did a tier list of all the different kinds of damage that can be dealt. Well, I won't say all, but at least the big ones.
The big ones, yeah.
In D&D. So I'm gonna start from the bottom and work up.
Okay. Okay.
According to Game Rant, this is the D tier, and there's only one in here. Do you have an? What do you think it is?
D tier.
D tier.
I'm going to probably say necrotic.
So
If I
they,
had to guess.
I would say, I feel like that's pretty bad too. But they have poison damage in D tier.
Poison damage, I would agree with that. The
Well,
rules for poison in D&D are not great.
is poison if it
Um,
does it heal undead if you hit them with poison, or is that only necrotic?
yeah, that's necrotic.
Okay,
Necrotic.
okay.
But undead are immune to poison, so it
Right,
doesn't
like I
matter.
was about to say, like they can't be poisoned. How do you poison something that's
They
dead?
can be poisoned. Your fiends, your devils, they can't be poisoned. So there's a chunk of creatures that can't be poisoned by poison. Yeah,
Uh huh.
they don't suffer the poison effect. Creatures that use poison can't be poisoned. So there's quite a few that it doesn't work against. It can be useful, especially at lower levels. If your DM allows it, you have a character that can justify its use. It can allow you to get a little extra damage in on a hit. Um, but honestly, pound for pound, I just don't think it's worth pursuing.
Yeah, their reasoning
Most
is.
poisons,
Oh, go ahead.
yeah, it has such a low DC for most saves on poison. It's just almost not even worth it.
Yeah, I mean they say the biggest reason is that there are at least 2 dozen creatures that are resistant to it,
Mhm.
including assassins, succubi, badgers, but a massive 150 creatures are completely immune to it.
Yeah,
So that's why they ranked it there. The
yeah,
next
and
up
I would
is
agree with them.
yeah, the next up is the C tier. So they
Mhm.
again, and they say all these have their place, but they kind of rank them by how many creatures or how many scenarios are they
How
just not
useful they
helpful
are.
in.
Yeah,
So in C
yeah.
tier they have cold and fire.
Cold and fire again. It's one of those things that's situational,
Yeah.
and you've got a lot of creatures that are immune to you got a lot of creatures that are immune to fire or have resistance to those
Mm-hmm.
effects. So the bang for your buck just isn't there.
Yeah.
You know, like the one of the things I don't like about Baldur's Gate 3 is most of the spells that your character gets access to if you play Gale is mostly fire-based spells.
Mm-hmm.
He's an evoker wizard, so he's getting, fireball, wall of fire, scorching ray, things like that. And then you start running into fiends and stuff, and it's not useful against him.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if Gale doesn't have a bunch of scrolls with like cold magic or necrotic magic, then he's kind of not doing much against those fiends and stuff. So
Yeah, they say
um,
fire damage. Again, 51 creatures resist it, and obviously
mhm.
55 creatures completely immune to it, and a lot of which are fire elementals, constructs, dragons, and of course devils.
Yep.
So that, and then cold is kind of the same. It looks like there's
Same
75
thing.
creatures resistant, and then about 30 creatures completely immune to it.
Yep.
So in the B tier, there's
Hmm.
four slashing damage, piercing
Right.
damage, lightning damage, and
Hmm.
necrotic damage. They have it B tier.
Okay. Necrotic damage. I mean, I don't think it should be a B
It
tier, but
probably like
that's just my
shifts back
personal
and
opinion.
forth, right? Like probably C tier,
Necrotic,
B
yeah,
tier.
it can shift back and forth depending on how you use it. Like Toll the Dead, it's a cantrip, it's a good spell. I like it because if you have it, you can throw it out there. If your fighter hits somebody and you're too far away to do anything, or you're not in a position where you can do much as a cleric, you can throw out Toll the Dead
Mm-hmm.
and do a little extra necrotic damage on them if they fail to save, but the save threshold is low. But necrotic damage is good in the fact that very few creatures are resistant to it. So,
Yeah,
except for of course your undead.
they
So,
shout out here,
um,
and I don't know this for a fact, but they say talking about necrotic damage, it's a little less reliable than acid, especially against most undead and many celestials. While there are many
mhm,
necrotic spells, it is not an elemental damage type, making it harder to find ways to bypass resistance. Luckily,
right.
D&D subclasses like the new pestilence cleric and the
Hmm.
undead warlock can bypass necrotic resistance.
Yes.
That so they say for those characters, probably that jumps up necrotic damage to probably an A tier
A
scenario
tier.
for
Yeah.
that particular case.
Yeah. I
Um,
mean, in fact, and we'll talk about this on the next episode, but they just dropped another Unarch Arcana with some new subclasses
Jesus.
for the villainous group. So we'll talk about those in the next episode. But there
Um,
was one in there I know that uses poisons. So,
yeah. But the
but
other
yeah.
ones, lightning, piercing, and slashing, basically just like they perform more often than not, so they're in the B tier.
Right.
So getting up to the A tier, and
Hmm.
I guess my ignorance is I didn't know this, but in the A tier, there's psychic damage, bludgeoning
Force,
damage, which I would agree. Bludgeoning damage seems like it's good, like almost all the time.
almost all the time.
And then acid. I thought poison and acid were the same thing, so they're not.
Was it acid or not? So acid is basically like your hydrochloric acid,
Hmm.
battery acid, stuff like that. Something that's corrosive,
Yeah.
like a black dragon's breath. The secretions of a, I think carrion crawler has like acidic secretions, and of course your gelatinous cubes and some of
Hmm.
your oozes and stuff. But not many things are immune to
Yeah, I
acid,
mean,
except creatures obviously that use it.
yeah.
I'm surprised they didn't put force damage in A tier because
So force damage
that
is
is the
actually an S tier. That's in the
they
highest.
have
So
to
that,
be.
yeah,
They
it's an S
have
tier.
to be because there's just so few creatures that are immune to it. But
Yeah.
yeah, I would say acid is definitely good if you in the right conditions against the right opponents. But
Yeah, they
that's the same
basically
with
say
anything.
again. These are just kind of rated by how often is it like valuable. There's only a
Mhm.
few things in corporeal enemies that are resistant to it, and then a handful of things are completely immune, but not many. So
Mhm.
acid just ranks high. Bludgeoning, same thing. A lot of undead in the game, so bludgeoning kind of does well. And psychic,
Mhm.
obviously, is very hard to be immune against for a monster.
Right.
So the best, according to this fun little tier list, are radiant damage, which I agree.
Yes.
Radiant damage seems very strong.
It
Guiding
is very
bolt
strong.
is radiant, right?
Guiding bolt is raining. If you remember,
Guiding bolt has
that's
been
what kind of
so strong for us.
that
Like,
is what saved you guys in the game Saturday night was when Nathan pulled out that he took that feat that allowed him to dip into one
mm,
clerical cantrip, one clerical spell, and he took guiding bolt. And buddy, that 4d6 guiding bolt, and then setting up your tank
yeah,
for advantage on his next physical attack was
yeah. I mean,
amazing. That's what
the
kind of
fact
turned
that
the
you can
tide.
set somebody up for advantage is insane. Just so I mean, and also the damage is good. So incredible. It's so S tier, Radiant, Thunder, and Force.
Thunder
They
is good. Thunder is good, and it's underrated because of the fact that so many people they use it wrong. I mean, I've seen a character
I
set
guess
at
I'm
a
not even
table and
familiar with it. Like what's a
yeah,
thunder spell?
like Thunder Wave.
Thunder
Thunder
wave.
Wave is a good one, where basically you can throw that out at a point you can see, and then everything from the point of impact is pushed back 10 feet and takes damage and probably gets knocked down.
Hmm.
The problem that I've seen with it is when people use it, they unfortunately catch friendlies in it. So it's great for knocking down opponents, pushing them back, kind of doing a little bit of battlefield control, because almost nothing is immune to thunder damage. But it just gets used incorrectly, and there really aren't enough spells that have thunder damage in them.
Well,
So
this just goes to show
yep,
like how knowledgeable you are because basically you just said what they said. They said of the
yep,
elemental damage types, thunder is by far your safest option. It
mm-hmm,
only has one more resistant and two more immunities than that of Radiant. So when you're fighting against enemies, it's only slightly less useful than Radiant.
yep,
Thunder spells almost always deal full damage, except for Earth elementals, where they actually take double damage.
yes,
The only downside to thunder damage is its comparatively few spells, like you just said,
yes,
and the fact
mm-hmm.
that the silence spell is an easy way to gain immunity to it. So that,
It really is.
and I wanted to bring up silence because the undead priest that we were fighting at the end of our last session, which you should check out the article. We have a cool picture of him. Um, that silence spell, it was like it dictated the entire fight until we could finally break his concentration.
Concentration, yeah,
And the way that we did that is we were all out of stuff, so I used Mage Hand to pull my dagger out of him and then handed it to our tank so he could throw it at him because we were out of everything. And
yeah.
finally broke his concentration so that Nathan can finish him with a magic missile. That was a slobber knocker of a fight, but Silence really was like punishing for our party there. Because, you know, our Eucalis, our wizard, was doing all of the damage. So to have
Yeah,
him
it was.
silenced for the entire fight basically was
Yeah,
brutal. Was brutal.
yeah. Silence is a spell that you don't see many people use, and it's a really clutch spell, especially against spellcasters.
Yeah.
I mean, because poor Nathan was looking at his spell list. He's like, everything's got to
Everything's
be, and I'm like,
yep, everything's vocal.
"Mhm,
And then Force is the
everything's
king.
cool."
Force is basically in its own genre. I'd say it's S plus because it's at the very very tippity top. Force is the king. No creatures are immune to force damage across any of the
Nope,
books, and only
nope.
one is resistant. The Eldritch Eddy from Nethral's Fall, which is a mini supplement from the Ultimate Bundle. That's the only thing that's resistant to it. Other than that, nobody is. Nobody's immune. Nothing.
Nope.
And there's also
Nope. Well, there's not a
25
lot of spells that
spells.
use force.
Yeah.
So
So It's very strong. That was ranked at the top. So I would say this tier list was pretty accurate.
I
We've
would say it's
had
pretty
we've had
accurate.
some that were like, what the hell? That one's pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, and a lot of it too is situational. When you use it, how you use it, and how creative can you be with it is gonna. You can have a lot of fun with the different damage types in the right situation in combat,
Hmm.
especially if you have other players that support you, or they can play off of opportunities opened up by that type of spell. So
Yep.
I help people, explore them, talk to me about it, do a little research. Don't poo-poo a spell because well, it only does 2d4 damage. Okay, but it's doing 2d4 damage on top of,
Yeah.
and that damage carries over to the next round. So it's doing 2d8 times 2 rounds.
Yeah.
So for that second round, even if you don't land a hit on that creature, you're still doing 2d4 damage, and 2 to 8 points of damage, 2d4. So it carries over, and it's something that's just automatic. It's already there. It's already in place. It's like bleeding damage. So I tell people not to sleep on it because there's
Yeah. I mean, almost.
everything has its place.
I'm running Arcane Trickster, and almost none of my spells do damage. I have all utility spells because that's kind of my character. But I
Yeah.
think you're kind of hitting on what we like to kind of recap on every time is like damage isn't everything.
Nope.
In video games, in tabletop games, everywhere, it's a team based sport, right? So like,
Hmm.
just like every other sport, just like every other game, it's like yeah, you probably need a scorer or a damage dealer on your team to be doing that kind of stuff. But really, there's a lot of other roles to fill, and not all of them are all
Hmm.
about rolling a bunch of dice. Some of them are like a lot of the impact that my character has in the game. I play. I almost never really have to roll damage. Like I'm usually outsmarting or outwitting or outmaneuvering our enemies like every time.
Right.
I mean, in our
Well, I
last two
heard you're into
sessions,
that Warhammer of Josh's. So
yeah, in our last two sessions, I haven't taken a single point of damage, and they were two of our hardest fights in both of them. Were some
yeah,
of the hardest combats we ever had, and a lot of it was I was just maneuvering around it. I was trying to. I mean, this last
using
game,
that bonus
I
action to
shoved.
hide.
Yeah, I'm like
Yeah.
hiding and kind of like that's kind of my point. Like yes, arcane trickster and stuff. You should be like doing assassinations and that kind of stuff, or assassin really should. But like booming blade, all that crap is what people think about. But like
Hmm.
I am sneaking around, shoving people, healing my friends, trapping
Yep.
people, and like I last game the most damage I did was shoving a guy into grease. This is the highest damage I did the whole
Yep.
game. So it's
Yeah.
like it's not all about.
Shoving a guy into grease. He fell and went
And
prone,
then we had
and then
advantage
the mage
attacks.
hit him with firebolt, set the grease on
Yeah,
fire.
and I mean,
So
like, so yeah, could I have stabbed him? Yeah, I would have stabbed him and done a couple d6s of damage, but like instead, I shoved him. I had advantage attacks for my entire team, and we finished him off. So it's like, just kind of that kind of stuff is what's interesting to me, you know?
yeah, yeah. So that's we say to this every single time almost here. Be creative in your gameplay.
Yep.
Talk to your DM. There's no such thing as a stupid
Have fun with
idea,
it.
and I love rewarding people for creative gameplay. So
Hmm.
think outside the box, as our friend Alan over at DC20 would say.
Oh yeah.
So we're going to end there for the night. We are glad that you guys could join us this evening. We hope that you had fun. Leave us a comment, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already subscribed.
Hmm.
Our last podcast, episode 25, got over 50 views, so we're pretty
Hmm.
excited about that. So we're hoping that we can get this one up there as well, so we can start spreading the news and getting more people over here and listening to us ramble on for about an hour, 45 minutes to an hour every time about the things we like and don't like. So
Hmm.
um, we appreciate each and every one of you, and we hope to see you back here next time in the maze.
Bye,
Good
everybody.
night, everybody.